Hey, lady. Hey, I hope you didn't just now turn around and look to see who I might be talking to. I'm talking to you. And I'm talking to you today about 5 benefits of strength training. Listen, you know me probably, if you listened for a minute, better than that. There are more than 5. There are probably 50 benefits for strength training after 50. But right now I'm going to separate it out and I'm going to get it right to the big and heavy hitters. So if you're still thinking, I'm on the fence, I can't make time, I've got this podcast and an upcoming podcast in my back pocket for those of you who say, I just can't find time. I don't know where to fit it in. I've got you covered too. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to Flipping 50, where I address top struggles and concerns that you've got about being in menopause or post and your second half. I share what to eat, how to move, and mindset changes so that you can have the energy and vitality that you want, need, and deserve in this second and better half. So let's dive into this. One caveat. Want to let you know the sponsor of this episode is the Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist. We recently have had a surge of registrations for not only the specialist, but the 2022 mastermind to help anyone who wants to be a trainer, is a trainer, wants to be a health coach, is a health coach, or combining them, and wants to work specifically with women in midlife. But to build a business is very different than to love to train. And oh, don't I know it. And having started over, even after a 30-year successful career on my own, building a digital business from 50 to now, I'm going to share the secrets that I use, the marketing strategies, the sales strategies, and really put your mind at ease. It is not about being sleazy, pushy, and salesy. It's about educating in a better way so that you make sure we're helping the right people. And if that appeals to you and you are coming from a heart-centered, brain beneficial, body beneficial type of strength training and or exercise training that you want to share with the world, this is for you. And I'm going to put the link in the show notes to the Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist and Mastermind and a special masterclass where I'm telling you all about it. Let's dive in. Talking about strength training, one of my favorite topics, and it couldn't be more exciting. That's what I think every day. And then I get up and there will be a new research study that gets me more excited. So here we go. I'm going to give you the 5 benefits and then I'm going to dig deep and unpack that. And those of you out there who are listening, who you are, prove it to me. Prove it to me, girls. I catch ya. Me too. That's why I include references in the blogs and podcasts that I share. Not every single one, because often I am digging a little deeper into the detail that I've already previously included, either in a book, a blog, or a podcast, but it's all there, flipping50.com, and I'll give you the show notes link at the end. 5 benefits of strength training that I'm highlighting after 50 today is 1, accelerated fat loss, and or maybe you don't have fat to lose, but you want to prevent it. Got you covered in this one, specifically belly fat, ladies. Number 2 is improved bone health. Now that might mean actually gaining bone density, or it may mean simply slowing losses. We'll talk about that. Number 3 is mitochondrial health. And if you're not quite sure what that means, even though you've heard the word mitochondria probably a little more frequently in the last 2-3 years, I'll unpack that too. Number 4 is brain and mood health. So we're going to talk a little bit about depression, anxiety, but even the bigger benefits, not just decreasing or reducing your odds. And last but not least, number 5 today is reverse the aging effects on your DNA. You're not stuck with it. How about that? All right, so let's start with number 1, fat loss. You want insurance that you won't gain weight, total fat, or belly fat with age? The answer, my friends, strength training. Following Postmenopausal women for 6 years, a very recent study, yes, reference included, found that those that had the greatest consistency with strength training, and more details on what that is, maintained their weight, maintained the total and regional belly fat that they had. They didn't gain weight. Now, those with no resistance training gained significant weight, significant total, and trunk fat. So we're talking torso, belly fat over the 6 years post menopause. For menopausal women, the best way to combat belly fat scientifically in the literature is yes, this, in addition to what and when you eat. So we can't negate that. I'm just not getting into it today. It's a weekly workout schedule that includes strength training and interval training. Those both have been shown to be the most targeting for visceral belly fat. Strength train to muscle fatigue in each and every set. Reach breathlessness in your interval training. The volume for strength training that you do want and need should come, however, from the number of sets and repetitions, not from the frequency of lifting. So thinking if you lift 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, you're doing better, you're not. Increased lifting frequency will reduce the recovery time, and that tends to decrease overall intensity and decreases the ability of your muscle to overcome the overload you've given it. So you will end up actually breaking down and potentially having less muscle and or more injuries. Split routines, keep in mind, meaning when you do upper body, then you do lower body, or you break it down even further, they get 8 times fewer results than a total body workout does, where metabolism is concerned. That's news to use, ladies. Let's dive into number 2, bone health. Increasing bone density post-menopause was once thought not possible. In part, however, this may have been due to the very conservative nature of most of the strength training programs that were performed. At best, bone losses were slowed, maybe halted, and then even when that happened, did create positive change. So imagine, here's how that positive change happens, right? So even if we're just preventing losses or slowing or stopping them, imagine that in general, you're losing 1 to 2% of bone density a year, and then you start strength training, you're not losing any. That is significant change. And we're talking significance statistically. Now, more recent studies, the last 2, last 5, last even 10 years, but we're hearing less about them because it's taken till now to be more studies, more collectively, all pointing in the same direction, that combined with dietary changes, adequate weight training stimulus has been proven to increase bone density in postmenopausal women. This is it's not too late, ladies, message. The gap in the research is clear, though. Some protocols do not work. So you can't just say, well, I'm going to lift weights. I'm lifting weights, but I'm not seeing any change. Some don't work to increase or positively protect your bone. You have to work with somebody who's an expert in osteoporosis, a medical exercise specialist, for instance, someone who's done the research on protocols that do work and who's willing to show you the list of references that they've cited about the program and the protocol that they're giving you having been effective for women just like you. Let's unpack another benefit. This is the word mitochondria, right? Your mitochondrial health. Those are powerhouses of energy production inside of your body. They're called mitochondria. They slow in production as a natural part of the aging process. That is important for many tissues in the body and function, not just for a muscle. However, mitochondrial aging can be reversed or prevented with proper intensity exercise. Both high load, meaning heavy, and low load, lighter resistance training, but each of them done to muscular fatigue are beneficial for mitochondrial health. So the optimal would probably be do a little bit of both of those. And again, the solution is not, though, a midday mild walk every day. It's not even a vigorous walk every day, but some vigorous and intense exercise consisting of both resistance training and exercise to breathlessness. So, brisk, if you can maintain it for 45 minutes, is not breathless, my friend. We're talking 30 seconds to a minute, and you've got to stop and rest. That is high intensity interval training that we're talking about. Number 4, brain and mood health. So, exercise has long been known as a mood booster for many. It's also supportive for decreasing signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety, as well as increasing function of the hippocampus. And that is where basically our memory is stored. Resistance training, along with cardiovascular training, helps problem solving skills and creativity as well. It's been proven that as I used to speak to many corporations, associations filled with audiences of men and women of all ages, that exercise during the workday actually increased and improved productivity, problem solving, even job satisfaction. By the end of the day, if someone had exercised, whether it was before they came to work, it was at lunch hour, and it didn't matter the intensity. It could have been yoga, foam rolling, going for a walk, or heavy lifting, all improved job satisfaction. So think about that one if you're the boss, and or if you're not loving your job, maybe also a good reason to look at that one. So again, resistance training along with cardiovascular training also does help problem solving skills and creativity, as well as reducing signs of depression and of anxiety. Last but not least, seriously, strength training can change your DNA. Not necessarily change it, but it can change the expression of it. Twice weekly strength training for 6 months positively influences the expression of 179 genes associated with aging. As women in the second half of life, you want to be all over that. I've shared this research many times, and it's one of my absolute favorite studies to quote. Shout it from mountaintops. I mean, what are you doing that you're so busy you couldn't do twice weekly strength training workouts? You know, if you're spending money on Botox, you're wondering about those creams that are more expensive for the wrinkles around your eyes or the collagen, the décolleté and the wrinkles you're seeing around your neck. Get after that strength training, girl, because it is right there. And stop spending so much time scrolling online and shift that so you've got 30 or 45 minutes twice a week. And by this time next year, you could have reversed your aging too. So, this phenomena of reversing aging is also close related to improvements in mitochondria function with aging. So, similarly, changing your DNA, changing the mitochondria expression, they both support each other. There you have it. 5 simple, motivating reasons to get all after it. And it is not about more frequently. It's about doing heavier weight if you can safely and reaching muscular fatigue. So if not heavier weight, then lighter weight and more repetitions to get the volume need. 3 or 4 sets is a better way to add volume than is adding another day per week, where that may conflict with the recovery that you do. Those 5 benefits again, and remember, there's probably 45 more where that came from, but they are accelerated fat loss, specifically belly fat, if that's an area, or preventing you from gaining it in the first place. Following women for 6 years proved that those who strength trained did not gain weight, did not change in total body fat or in their belly fat. And that I say is positive. So You may be thinking, but wait, I want to change. I want to lose that weight. We took women who weren't exercising prior, and the study looked at what happened for them. It's a great prediction of whether you will or you won't gain weight with age. So, accelerated fat loss, improved bone health, mitochondrial health, brain and mood health, and reversing the effects of 179 genes associated with aging. What are you waiting for? Let's start lifting today. In the show notes, I'm going to share with you some resources, some Flipping 50 programs. If you're ready to stick a toe in the water and get started, but have no idea where to do it, I will lend you a hand. And then stay tuned for the next episode where I will be sharing with you more about if you're too busy to exercise, how to cut time off for your workout right now. If you're curious about what is strength training, by the way, it falls under the large umbrella of resistance training. Strength training and weight training specifically are interchangeable terms, and they refer to the use of weights for additional load. There is also body weight training, tubing and bands, even use of water exercises, other ways to use resistance. But the key is finding a way to strength train that enables you to safely do more pulling exercise than pushing and harness the metabolism boosting value of reaching fatigue with your major muscle groups of the lower body. Compare, say, a Pilates session with a session using dumbbells that results in muscular fatigue in every set. The muscle strength, bone health, metabolism benefits of the strength training surpass that of Pilates exercise. Could it be important for your alignment and your moving being more comfortable? Ultimately, yes. But when you have very specific high priorities of bone density metabolism, you want to look at whether or not your exercise matches those priorities. Where to begin? Start with a solid foundation of basic movements, a push, a pull, a squat, and or a hinge exercise, and use slightly higher repetitions from 15 to 20, even up to 25 repetitions, depending on your condition. You can use dumbbells at home or at the gym. You can use machine weights. You will need a bar or equipment of some kind to do pulling or hinging movements against resistance at home. I prefer to use an assortment of dumbbells, kettlebell, and a weighted vest for home workouts. I'm going to include the strength training programs you might like and another episode that you might like to go back and listen to, published just recently. And then don't forget, all the resources are in the show notes. If this was helpful, one way that you can thank me is, and keep content coming, is by sharing this on your social media timelines. Another is adding a comment or joining our Facebook Insiders group. Ask questions there. It's the best place to reach me if you're not in a program that gives you access. For more information or a quick start to an exercise program, if you've not been exercising recently, you can try my 5-day flip. Links to all of that will be in the show notes, and that'll be at flipping50.com/5 benefits, the number 5. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 today.